Le Mans Ultimate is turning into a tour de force in the sim racing community thanks to its latest update, and I thought what a fantastic time to do a little triple screen tutorial on it. As per usual, I'm going to show you how to calculate all the angles correctly, how to set it up within the simulator itself, show you how to do every little bit of the setup, and most importantly, for the one person that will complain down in the comments, it's going to show you how to do it with screen spanning software and also without screen spanning software. So hopefully everybody should be happy. Anyway, without further ado, on y va.
Setting up NVIDIA Surround.
Le Mans Ultimate is pretty good because you can set this up either with screen spanning software. My preference is NVIDIA Surround, it always has been, or you can jimmy rig it to do it natively. I'm going to show you how to do both, NVIDIA first, natively a little bit later.
First, you are going to want to go to the Start menu and open up NVIDIA Control Panel. Here, you are going to want to click on Configure Surround, select Span Displays with Surround, and then hit Configure. This will open the Setup Surround window, and at this point you must note the order of your screens. Here they are displayed in large white numbers. Working from left to right, they are numbered 2, 3, and 1. Now click Enable Surround. The screens will go black while this enables. At this point, drag the monitors in the display window into the correct order you noted before, 2, 3, and 1. Now click Apply to order the screens correctly. Now we need to correct the alignment for the bezels, and this is done with these two figures. This is done visually from where you will sit, so increase the numbers until it looks correct. For me, this number sits at 44. Once this is set, click Apply again. The screen will once again go black as this sets. Now go to the Resolution menu and select Bezel Corrected Resolution. Make a note of this now. Once selected, click Apply again, and then Surround with Bezel Corrected Resolution will be enabled. Calculating the correct field of view, FOV. To calculate this, we are going to need some help from a free online tool available at this address. I will put the link in the description below. Once opened, you will be presented with this window. Here you can adjust your parameters to obtain your desired field of view. For me, I wanted to make sure that all of my peripheral vision was covered, so I aimed for 180 degrees. Firstly, make sure your screen size is set to 16.9 and then input your screen size. Mine is 32 inches. Select triple screens from the drop-down menu. You will then need to input your bezel thickness. I'll show you how to measure this later in the video. You can then play around with your distance from the screen and see the required monitor angle to achieve your desired FOV. In my case, I felt that a 60-degree angle would work well with my room, and a distance of 62 centimeters away from the monitor felt comfortable. But you can play around with these figures as you desire, but once selected, you must stick to them. To better understand this, let's look at this on a diagram. To achieve a 180-degree field of vision, my eye line needs to be in line with the most proximal edge of the monitor, the circle here illustrating my head. My screen size is 32 inches, adjust this for your own size. The distance from screen is the distance from my eyes to the panel monitor. To achieve my required field of vision, I need to be 62 centimeters away, give or take. And finally, I must make sure that my triple screen angle is set to 60 degrees. This angle will differ for yourself depending on what you got in the tool. Here the angle is taken from a line drawn from the back of the middle monitor to the angle formed by the back of the left and right monitor. Here this is written in pink. To measure this practically, you will need a digital angle measure, or in this case a set square that has an angle measurer on it. Make sure this is lined up with the middle of the monitor when viewed from the top as illustrated here. Repeat this for the left and right monitor and be as accurate as possible. How to measure your monitors. Measuring up is relatively easy, and we need to take two further measurements. Firstly, we need to measure the monitor's total width. Finally, you want to measure your bezel's width. This is the distance from the outermost portion of the monitor to the start of the image on your monitor. Here, mine measured 0.7 centimeters.
How to set up Le Mans Ultimate triple screens using NVIDIA Surround. In order to get Le Mans Ultimate set up correctly with NVIDIA Surround, there are a couple of steps. First, you want to boot up the game, and then you want to head to Settings. Wait for the wipey screen, and then up at the top you want to click Graphics. Here we're just going to make sure the basics of our resolution are set up correctly. Now, I'm running a quad monitor, so if you are running quads, you just want to make sure that the spanned monitor is selected. In my case, this is monitor 1, not monitor 2. I prefer borderless because if I want overlays, and I think it works better for me for streaming, this is my preference. And then you want to make sure that your bezel corrected resolution is selected. Here it is 7768 by 1440. Of course, you can tweak your refresh rate based on your own parameters. Make sure multi-view is set to on. And then once all that's done, you want to click apply. Then you want to head back and then you want to boot up a practice session. See you in a second. And welcome back. Here we are at Spa, and you want to get yourself to a nice quiet portion of the track to make sure you're not taken out by oncoming passing traffic. From here, I would like you to turn your attention please to your keyboard. I would like you to press the buttons Control and equals. This will bring up your FOV calculator. I think this is done really well in Le Mans, and it's a really nice tool, and it's a good visual representation to make sure things are done absolutely correctly. I want you to turn your attention to this button here at the top. It says All. If you click it, it will allow you to set up your left and your right monitor individually. This is going to be particularly pertinent to people who have different size monitors for some reason if you're an absolute masochist. However, if you have same size monitors for each of your triple screens, all will be absolutely fine. Down at the bottom, the width and the height is set in meters, so 0.727 is translated as 727 millimeters. Le Mans links the width and the height and ratios them as per your resolution. However, if for some reason this isn't set up absolutely correctly for you and you do need to tweak the height individually, then you can click this unlink button here, which will allow you to individually change the height as needed. Linked works absolutely fine for me, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. The eye setting again is in meters, so I measured this before at 620 millimeters, so it's 0.62. We're using NVIDIA Surround, we've used a bezel corrected resolution, the gap is set to 0, you don't need to change this. The angle here is 60 degrees, that's pretty much as close as I can get it, and that is it. Click the X button and you're ready to rock and roll. How to set up Le Mans Ultimate triple screens without NVIDIA Surround. If you wish to set up Le Mans Ultimate natively with triple screens, there is a way to do it. It's a little bit convoluted, it's not quite as straightforward as NVIDIA, that's my preferred option, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. First of all, you're going to need to do some tweaking behind the scenes in the config file, and you're going to need to locate your Le Mans Ultimate config file. Mine is located in my C drive. From here I go to Program Files. From here I want to locate Steam. From here I want to locate Steam Apps. From here I want to locate Common. And as you can see here, we have Le Mans Ultimate. Within here, you want to go to User Data, and as you can see, we have a file called config_dx11.ini, or ini, as other people like to call it. Double click it, and this will open it up in Notepad. Now, I've already pre-configured this, so I'll just show you exactly what I've done. I will note, I've tried to get this to work in borderless. It doesn't work, it just scrunches things up, unfortunately, so you will need to set borderless to 0. You want to make sure that windowed mode is set to 1. Now you want to turn your attention just to the bottom of this window to custom vid res. Now you want to put in your width, which is triple what your center monitor is. So if you're using 2560, multiply by that by 3, and that's 7680. Your vertical height is of course the vertical resolution, and mine is 1440p. This will obviously be different for whether you're using a 1080p monitor, 4K monitor, etc. From here, you want to head to the top, File, make sure you've saved it, and close it down. Now you can boot up Le Mans. Once you've booted up the game, there are a couple of settings we need to check before you boot up a race. First, you want to go to Settings, wait for the wipey screen, and then head to the graphics setting up at the top. Here you want to make sure that your window mode is set to windowed. Don't set this to borderless. Again, that's my preferred option for NVIDIA, but for some reason it just scrunches it up. If anybody knows a workaround, please let me know down in the comments. You want to make sure that your resolution is set correctly. Now this should be what you inputted into your ini file, and it should be able to be selected from this drop down menu right here. As you can see, it's all the way down at the bottom. Next, you want to make sure that your multi-view is set to on, because this will allow us to alter the all important FOV settings once we boot up a race, and that is it. Click apply, keep the changes, head back, boot up a race. I'll see you guys in a second. Welcome back. Once you're out in a practice session, you want to get to a nice safe portion of the track so you don't get assaulted by any passing cars. From here, I would like you to turn your attention to your keyboard. Press the keys Control and equal. This will bring up your FOV calculator. There's some little caveats here if you're setting this up without NVIDIA Surround. At the top, like I said earlier, when I was setting up NVIDIA Surround, you can click the middle button and you can set up the left and the right monitor individually if you're using different size monitors. However, if you're using same monitors throughout, all will be absolutely fine. Down at the bottom, the units are in meters, so 0.727 is 727 millimeters. This is the width of my monitor. We measured that before. The height is linked. So if I click here, it will link as per the ratio of my monitors with the height, and that's probably the best way to do it. If for some reason the height isn't working out or you want to set them individually, just click the little link button just to the left here and it will allow you to do so. As I measured earlier, my distance from my eyes to the center monitor is 620 millimeters or 62 centimeters, and the angle of my monitors is 60 degrees. You need to input your bezel thickness here because you haven't corrected it in NVIDIA Surround, so you need to correct it in-game. Here, my bezel thickness is 7 millimeters, so that works out at 0.007. And that's it. Once you're done, click X and you're ready to rock and roll.
How to adjust the cockpit camera, otherwise known as optimizing the seat position.
The final touch of chocolate sprinkling on this FOV Choca-Mocha Latte is the seat position. This often gets overlooked, and I emphasize this does not adjust the calculated FOV, but more your position in space. Very much akin to if you were adjusting your seat in a real-life vehicle. First of all, you need to make sure that you've set up keybinds in order to adjust your seating position. So press Escape to start off with and head to Settings. Then from here, you want to head to Controls. From here, you want to head to Keyboard. I think it's easier to use a keyboard personally. You can bind it to your wheel if you like. But then head to Camera, scroll down, Seat and FOV. I've just set my Adjust Seat Forward, backwards, seat up, seat down, and if for some reason that you're not sat level and your seat is inclined, you can adjust your pitch. My seat is level, we're not going to mess around with that. Once those are set, you can head back into the simulator. Using your keybinds, you can adjust forwards and backwards and up, come on, down and then up. There we go. What I recommend is picking a position in space on the dashboard, look at your own in real life wheel and sort of gauge just about the correct position where you feel it should be in relation to yourself in the real world and the virtual cockpit. And that is it.
How to remove the steering wheel for ultimate immersion.
One of my preferred things to set up to boost immersion is to get rid of the steering wheel. It doesn't make sense to me having two steering wheels sat in front of me. It just takes me right out of the experience. To get rid of the steering wheel in Le Mans, you simply head to Erase, click Escape, head to Settings, go up to the top and head to Graphics, and all the way down here you can see Steering Wheel. Make sure that's set to Off. And that's it. Head back to the game, and then you'll have no steering wheel. Voila. And there you have it. If you followed all the instructions to the letter, you will now be left with triple screen Nirvana. Remember, the most important thing once you've set this all up is that you're better than everybody else. Don't forget that. If you found this useful, please share it around, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Happy sim racing. Bye for now.